Hey, greetings everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Plan B Success. We've got another entrepreneur today, but slightly with a caveat. Somebody who's delving in the multifamily real estate scene. So Agostino Pintus joins us today. He's the CEO of Realty Dynamics Equity Partners. He's been building and growing his real estate business for the last 16 plus years. He's also got a podcast, the Bulletproof Cashflow Podcast, where he talks about the real estate deals that he does. He interviews industry experts, investors, mentors, and other entrepreneurs to share their secrets and advice. Plus, he's got a whole slew of things lined up in the real estate scene. So let's welcome Agostino and hear from him directly. Welcome to Plan B Success, Agostino.
Hey, man. So happy to be on. Appreciate it. Very good to meet you.
Same here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life since I was a kid. I was 9 years old, and I was crazy. At the time, I was crazy about computers, and all I ever wanted to do was program my computers, and I had the vision of having my own software company at some point. But instead of doing the whole software entrepreneur computer technology venture that I wanted to do my entire life, I ended up going the corporate route, and built some success there. I was eventually becoming a director level, and then a CTO, running large enterprise IT, working for these companies. And everything was going great. I was at one point I was working for a very large company in Virginia, and CTO, we went public. I'm a young guy. I was in my 30s, and things are going awesome, and had cars and big houses and all this fun stuff, right? And I thought I was on top of the world. I'm like, this is awesome. Until one day, I get my CEO comes into my office and says, "You know what? Pack up your stuff. Get out. We're done." That kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't that bad in terms of the verbiage, but that's the impression that you're left with, right? And I think that for many people, they equate their job with their personality, with their person of who they are. Who for many people, it's what we do is what we are.
That's true.
And this guy, the whole experience made me feel like a complete failure. It really led me down some really dark path. So instead of trying to find another C-level job and trying to go that route, I ended up trying to take any job I could just to survive. It just put me in a very, very bad place, and it took a while to rebound from all that. It was some really rough times for about 10 years before I discovered multifamily real estate. And up until that point, I was doing single family. I started when I was doing single family when I was working at this company. And the only reason why I did that was because I was always afraid of getting fired from my job. Always, because up until that point, I've been fired from every single job I ever had. So as I said, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, and I just was not cut out for it. And when I learned about multifamily, I didn't realize how to put those deals together. And an attorney friend told me about how to build, how to syndicate deals, how to raise money from other people to buy these large multifamily assets. I'm like, well, I could do that. So it's exactly what I did. I learned how to do it. I trained myself. At the time, I didn't know of anyone that could train people on how to do this kind of stuff. And, fast forward 3 years, I'm now a general partner in about $45 million worth of assets. We over 700 units at this point. Just took down we're in the process of taking down one of the biggest deals in my career is doing this so far. So it's very, very, very exciting times right now. It's, but I think we really have to watch what we say to ourselves. And we also need to make sure that we don't let other people define who we are. If you're an entrepreneur, be the entrepreneur, right?
Awesome, and congratulations.
Thanks.
I want to take you back on that journey. I want to take you specifically to that period where you were let go, and then you said you had a 10-year struggle before you figured out what you wanted to do. More or less that's the dark period, right?
Yeah.
that's pretty common. Not a lot of people come out and talk about it, but in today's times, it's very common. In today's times, I believe you can, on an average, know that during a career time, you can get laid off 3 to 4 times at least, right? So let's talk about that period, the dark period for you. And for a lot of people, it's very difficult to do what you've done or to come out of it and say, okay, I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet and make it work. So, and it seems like a long period too, 10 years. So let's talk about that and some of the emotional roller coaster ride that you went through.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like I said, we really have to watch what we say to ourselves. And when we're working for someone and, especially I was a young guy, I was in my early 30s with this wild success working at a seemingly great company, it kind of like defines you, right? And when you're told that, you're no longer good to be there anymore, it really messes with your head. I really do. I really believe that. And I allowed it to mess with me. And going through the dark period there, I got mixed up with the wrong people, bad relationships with like all kinds of terrible people, busted up business ventures, just doing the wrong thing. I was trying so hard to work in technology and work in things that I didn't really have any business doing, right? Like so keep in mind, up until that point when I was working at this other company, I was doing real estate stuff. I had some success doing this single family at the time.
Right.
I had success doing that. But instead of continuing to do that, I decided to do, a phone company, a dialer company, a debt collection company, like all these different things that I had no aptitude doing, but I'm trying to do it. I'm banging my head against the wall, trying to do that. And aside from that, it doesn't help when you're in the wrong crowd, right? You're surrounding yourself with the wrong people. And a big part of building success, there's 2 things specifically. Number 1, the mindset. My mindset was a mess. It was a complete mess. And number 2 is getting around the right people. And I was not around the right people either. So these 2 things were really hindering my personal growth. And once I shifted the mindset, that was the very first thing. It took a decision on my part to start studying and training and fixing the mindset. I mean, this didn't happen overnight. That's the thing. It took years to fix this, right? But once I fixed it, my whole life today is different than even what it was 2 years ago. It's like night and day, right? So now my mindset is bulletproof.
That's pretty awesome. So, the multifamily, or for that matter, real estate, right? One thing that I have often heard from old and young alike, and from people on any side of the world, is invest in real estate and you will never go wrong. And I think that that's true, irrespective of where you are in the world. So for someone who's looking to get started in this space, what would you advise?
Sure. Well, I mean, in real estate, I mean, there are ways of getting it wrong, right? There are ways to do it. I don't recommend you try to screw it up to figure that out, but it's best to learn from other people's mistakes, right? And like for instance, on our show, we cover some of these different things, and we interview many other people that have made some crazy mistakes too. But really what it comes down to for people that want to learn this business is to know the lingo, right? And what I mean is like with anything that's in this business, like my background is IT, and I knew technology because I exposed myself to the tech, right? I knew the technology, but in this case of real estate, I spent the time committing to listening. That's how I absorb information, to book after book after book after book after book. I just kept on studying every single thing I can get my hands on. Go down to the library, take out every single audiobook and listen to it back to back to back to back. I mean, because I knew, man, that if I'm going to be successful at this thing, because at the time I wasn't working, had nothing else. There was nothing else. I decided this is what I'm going to do now. I better double down and make this happen, because if I don't, I'm going to starve. My kid is going to starve, and I'm not going to amount to anything. It took a heavy commitment, and some people just aren't willing to do that kind of stuff, right? So it took me training like crazy and keeping that hard mindset that this is what I'm going to be doing and I will be successful at it, right? So once I trained on how to do this, then I actually built out the, if you want to call it, the materials, right? The image. Facebook, you get on your social media, you fix up all your social media, get rid of any type of stupid photos or anything else like that, like partying and drinking or whatever. Get rid of your music selection. Brokers don't care about that. And really gearing up and creating an image that you want an investor or a broker to see and realize that, yes, I would invest money with this guy or girl. They seem like a capable, real person that knows what they're doing. And then you build the team. This is before you even look at a deal. I mean, you're looking at deals, I suppose, or you're practicing on how to analyze deals. But before you even call a broker, before you do any of that stuff, you're building all this infrastructure first, right? You're building the infrastructure. You're learning the lingo. You're building your deal launch guide that shows who your team is now, right? What sort of assets are you looking for? And then you practice talking to brokers. The brokers are the ones that have the deals. Whether it's residential or commercial. They're the ones that have the properties. And one thing that any broker wants to make sure of is that, can you close the deal? That's all they care about. Do you have the money? Do you have the team? Do you have the relationships? Can you get it done? Because if you can't, you're not getting anything, right?
Right. And how long have you been at it now?
Oh, wow. So back when I was at that company, so that's 16 years now. I've been doing the real estate game, but really multifamily has only been about 3 years, probably less than that actually. It's consistent hustling. I'm always hustling, and we just landed, or we're working on one of the biggest deals in my life right now. It's going to be huge when that thing comes out. It's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be exciting. Yeah.
So one of the things that you talked about is a high performance mindset.
Yeah.
How do you end up building it and then sustaining it?
Books, getting the books, getting in front of the right material in your head is really what it is, right? And so what I do is that I listen to books on psychology, so I understand how people work, how I work, right? Psychology, sales, and marketing. Some real estate, not really, but not a lot. But those are the three things. I started off with those three things. How do people work? And when you understand how people work and how to sell and how to sell yourself to that other person, that's really what it is. I mean, the real estate stuff came with it, but I have a rule, and I have a book list that we're working on. We're actually going to be releasing a Bulletproof book club that's going to be coming out soon too. And what we're doing is it's going to cover, like, say, week 1 is marketing, week 2 is sales, week 3 is I think it was something to do with real estate, and then week 4 is an autobiography, right? On someone that overcame something. Maybe it's Thomas Edison, maybe it's Einstein, maybe it's Stephen Hawking, or there's someone that overcame something and was able to beat the odds, right? And every once in a while, we need to hear that kind of stuff, right? So aside from the book thing, the book club that we're putting together, which I listen, I mean, I'm already doing it today. This is how I work every day. Going to the gym and listening to those affirmations from impact quotes, for instance, is one that I listen to every morning on the way to the gym, right? What people don't realize is that when they first wake up in the morning, that is when our minds are most open, right? To accept information. So if the first thing you're doing when you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, put on your shoes, get in the car and drive to the gym, and you turn on impact quotes or some other motivational type of scenario, that is what's going to power you through the rest of that day to get you through to the other side of that day, right? You do that every single day, plus listening to the books or reading the books, whatever your preferred methodology is. I mean, that kind of stuff will change your life. It'll change your life, especially when you're reading 52 books a year. Most people don't even read two. Right. And if they are reading it, they're reading garbage. I'm sorry, but it's what they're reading. They're reading some fiction or whatever. Our time on this planet's short. It's short. Can't waste it reading garbage material. Just can't do it.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about your podcast and the other things that you're doing. Can you talk to us about Bulletproof Cashflow?
Sure. Absolutely. So Bulletproof Cashflow is centered around real estate and the real estate business, right? So while we primarily talk a lot about multifamily real estate, we will often get into, like, say, land flipping, to mobile home parks, to maybe even how to defer taxes so you can actually boost your income that way. So aside from that, from the podcast, we also have the multifamily mindset, which is practical, actionable advice for people to actually build their own real estate portfolio. Right? It's all centered around multifamily, and I deliver the content for that. We're gonna have two new podcasts coming, two mini series coming out, I should say. That's going to be coming out here soon. One's going to be on raising capital, and another one's going to be on management after you acquire this asset, whatever asset you might be acquiring. So what we're looking to do is really help people cover the full gamut of what they need to get into real estate and take down these deals. And that's our way of giving back to people. It's super, super exciting. We love that. We love doing all that stuff.
So is there one place where people can go to find all your stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we're all over the place. We're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on YouTube. We're pretty much anywhere where there's a podcast. You search for Bulletproof Cashflow, you'll find us, right? And I mean, and we talked about this in the green room. But if any of your listeners are into doing real estate, if they text the word freedom to 202-410-4202, they will get a link to a free ebook. So they actually get two ebooks, one on raising capital and one on how to talk to brokers. So yeah, it's going to be really good for those folks out there that are thinking about getting into real estate.
That's pretty awesome. So some of the things that you've talked about is you've talked about your own life, your highs and lows, ups and downs, and then you're on a journey where you're really doing what you want to do. So when you reflect back on this, what would you consider to be one, a high point, and one, a low point in your background?
That's a good question. I'm gonna start with the low point first. There's a time in my life when I was living in New York City at the time, and keep in mind that when I was working at this company in Virginia, I mean, I had Corvettes and Hummers and big houses and all this stuff, right, man? I mean, it was crazy. And now I am getting chased down by the IRS. I have debt up to my eyes, and I was in an awful relationship with some insane woman, and I was working at some crappy company, earning less than half of what I used to earn before. I mean, I was in a bad place, man. It's a bad place. I was working on the 27th floor of a New York skyscraper, and I often thought, it'd be easy just to step off and that's it. That was pretty bad. And I mean, the only reason why I'm still alive today is because I have a son. If I hadn't had that son, I don't know where I'd be right now, man. I don't know where I'd be. So things were pretty dire for me, and I decided not to give up. I was going to push through, and I was going to try to build something for my kid. At the time, I was thinking real estate. I was trying to do, as I said, all these different things, and I wasn't focused. That's part of the problem. I wasn't focused on what needed to happen, right? And fast forward several years, now my partners and I, we just put the Rockefeller building in downtown Cleveland under contract. This is a John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest men ever. Mm-hmm. We have the building under contract right now, man. Huge renovation project. We're going to convert that to multifamily. And considering that at one point in my life it was absolutely terrible to doing this, it's like to fathom that gap, it took a great deal of having that super strong mindset of actually building the mental muscle needed to overcome all that negativity, all the getting away from all those negative and bad people to really build something special in your life, and that's where we're at right now. Now, I'm not going to say we're closing this deal. We're certainly going to try. And I mean, I always, every single deal that I get, I close, but I don't really like to count my chickens before they hatch. But I'll tell you, man, it's certainly exciting to even have the opportunity to even work on a project like the one we're working on right now. It certainly is, it can certainly lead us to some really big things once we get the sucker under our belt. Yeah, it's exciting.
That's pretty awesome. There could be a lot of people going through the journey that you went through, right? And I'm sure in today's times, especially with the number of layoffs, how common a layoff is, there are people out there who are probably going through the dark parts of their journey. If you were to give them one piece of advice in order to come out stronger and better on the other side, what would you ask of them while they are enduring this dark period?
I would say that they need to start filling their minds with new and relevant information. That's the first thing. And relevant meaning sales, marketing, the good stuff. There's over 130 million books out there, and the majority of them are trash. They're garbage, right? You go to Amazon, try to find the best books, look through the reviews. If it looks good, download it, read it, listen to it, whatever it is that your preferred method. Pretty soon we'll have our own book list. Book club. You can look at that. This is going to be entirely free. Buy the books, download them from wherever you want. I really don't care. Get them from the library. Again, don't care. It's just to help people get into listening to books and changing their mindset. That's the first thing. Secondly, sometimes, you know what? You got to move. Get out of that environment where you're at and go somewhere else, right? Leave, change the environment, shake it up a little bit. Right, you're in a not so good area. It's not impacting you. It's not making you feel good about yourself or about where you're at. Get out of that area. Do something else. And finally, the third thing is reflect back on what made you happy as a child. And more than likely, that's probably what you should be doing today. Right. And in my case, it was tech. So it didn't really apply to me. For the first part of my life, it did. And I think if I would have stayed with technology on my own, I would have been successful. But real estate, I discovered, was where I belonged. And I think that for many people, they need to take that massive, massive action and to realize the change in their life that they need to make happen, and really putting all that focus on one thing. Just do one thing, right? I don't do industrial. I don't do retail. I don't do mobile home parks. All we do is multifamily. That is all we do. We do one thing, and we focus all of our efforts on one thing, right? And we take massive, massive amounts of action against that one thing. And it's so difficult because you know what? We are running out of time. Every single minute that passes is another minute that we will never, ever get back. So when you are working on something or you're wasting your time watching Game of Thrones, that's time you'll never get back, ever, ever. No matter how much money you have you have all the money in the world, you'll never get that money back. You think Steve Jobs would have given up his entire fortune if he can live another 15 years?
Right. Yeah.
Right. He would have, but there's no way. Even for the richest man or one of the richest men in the world at the time, there's no buying his health back. Nothing. There's nothing on the planet that could have helped him.
Right.
Right. So time is very, very precious, and we must treat it like that.
Absolutely, man. That's great. Hey, I have a few questions for you. I just want to kind of throw them your way, and you tell me whatever comes to your mind. What are you most thankful for at this point in your life?
It's going to sound very cliche. I'm thankful to be alive. It's like these are some great times right now. And I'm so thankful that I'm still alive today to enjoy the life that I have and really spend time with my family who I love deeply. And it's one of those things that, like I said, every day is a gift. Every day is a gift.
And what are you most scared of?
Well, what I'm looking to do is build a legacy, right? And by that, it's kind of the reason why it's like this deal that I just told you about. It's like when we close it, the name of my name will be associated with that building, and that's going to be a legacy, right? And it's going to be something I'm going to be able to hand off to my kid and my family after I'm gone, because I will be gone one day. And I just hope that I have enough time to do everything that I want to do, right? So it's I'm often scared that it's just not enough time to do everything I want to do. There's not much time for me. Not much time for me. Got to hurry.
What are you most happy about?
Well, these days, it's the opportunity to work on this deal I mentioned. I think it's scary, but it's also exciting. It's very thrilling. So. Very, very happy, and I'm so pleased and that we get to work with some great people. I have some amazing partners, and that they're putting this deal together, and it's so much fun to be doing all this stuff. It's just awesome.
What do you look forward to?
Finishing this project.
And then what would you like your legacy to be?
I would want my son's kids to know my name. That's what I want. Awesome. That's what I want. That's why we do everything we do. When we do our podcasts and we do all this material that we put out there that we give away for free. I'm hopeful that my son and his and hopefully his kids and everyone that comes after him, they will be able to watch all the material that we're putting out there or listen to it. And I think that for many people, if they can have their great grandfather tell them how to do real estate, that'd be pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So that's what I'm doing. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's exactly what I'm hoping for. That's what we're building.
That's pretty awesome, man. So this was great. Thank you so much for joining us today, Agostino. But before I let you go, one takeaway for the listeners that you would want to leave with them.
Time is short. You got to take massive, massive action. It's going to be scary. Don't be stupid. It's going to be scary. Just do it, and you will never regret it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Agostino. Look forward to keeping in touch and look forward to see those new podcasts that you're coming out with as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, I hope you liked that episode. Do check out my website, rajivmudumba.com. And by the way, do check out Top Podcast Mastery Program that's out there on the website. And if you're interested in podcasting, if you're interested in creating a brand image for who you are and what you have to offer, definitely check that course out. I'm sure it's going to provide you immense value, and it'll cut short your journey of researching podcasts by the weeks into a couple of hours to get started and moving on. Thank you very much.